I'll give you not a donut.
So you're giving us the whole.
Yeah,
Rather than...
yeah, exactly. Don't have an answer. I really don't have an answer. It'll be a game time decision. So did a little bit more today, but it was a little sore still. So, but we'll wait. We'll wait to see how it feels tomorrow.
With the quick turnaround, do you think how are the guys doing? Do you feel like there's any fatigue factors, and will you have to make any rotation because of that?
There's no fatigue. No. I mean, we'll be 3 days after the game. Usually, I've said this before. I actually said it going into the New York game, talking about their window they were playing in. That one of our heaviest days in a weekly periodization cycle is the game day +3. So with 2 days to recover, that 48-hour window is over, and tomorrow the guys should be ready. So I don't expect that to play into the game at all.
And so is it something where you just go with the best guys? You don't try to look at doing any rotation in a playoff situation like this?
Yeah, we got to win, you know. So you're never going to go with the worst guys. You're going to go with the guys you think are going to win the game. I don't mean to be, funny with that, but you got to go with what you think every game is going to win. So will there be some rotation? I mean, there could be, but ultimately at this stage in the season, you got to win. So we know we have 2 games though to manage. So it's a little bit different scenario than a one-game knockout. You basically have 2 halves. And we need to be in position going into Vancouver where, we're in a good spot. A good spot could be up, good spot could be even. Worst case scenario, a tight loss, but we're playing to win, and we're expecting to have a good game, a good performance. We know it's a good opponent, difficult opponent, good team. It'll be an interesting series. You got 2 teams that are very good home and away. We're tied with 7 wins with them. I think they have 1 more point than us. So we know if we have to go on the road and score goals, we can. But ideally, we want to get out of this game with a win.
You guys have matched up well against Vancouver in the past, and specifically have done very well at BC Place. Why do you think that is?
I think we do pretty well against everybody. I think we've beaten every team in the league this year except Vancouver, actually. And we won the Western Conference. So I think we do pretty well against everybody. But why do we match up well against them? I think you got 2 good teams, and 2 good teams play against each other. It's a good matchup.
You obviously know what you're going to get with Vancouver, facing them a lot this year. Do you think the Kansas City game got you guys in that right mindset of being in a physical battle, which this is likely to be?
Yeah, I mean, again, there'll be a lot of talk about the quick turnaround and that being an advantage for them. But I like the fact that we've already gotten a win in the playoffs under our belts. We've been in the playoffs now. We've tasted it. We've been in a match that was tense, and so I think for me, I think that's a good thing because we've gotten our first win in the playoffs, and we're in a playing rhythm. So yeah, in terms of them having more time this week to go into the game with maybe a little bit, with a little bit more prep time and, in theory, a little bit more fresh. I like the fact that we're in a playing rhythm. I like the fact that we've already gotten a win in the playoffs. So I think that could be an advantage for us.
Pretty mentally traumatic, emotionally traumatic win on Thursday. Is there anything you need to do specifically to sort of move on mentally from that and get ready for this next one, or does the motivation provide itself?
No, we're moved on. Yesterday, obviously, you need to take a day to kind of get over it, and we did our normal recovery routine, brought guys in, and did our normal routine, and today it was back to work. We went over our scout on Vancouver plan. Line up, but we also wanted to see a little bit, how guys looked, felt, have a few conversations. But the guys looked locked in, they looked ready, they looked turned around mentally, And like I said, physically tomorrow we're in that 3-day mode after the game. So we should be, when the whistle blows, the guys will be ready. They'll be fine.
How much sleep did you get? Or have you got given A, the excitement, and B, the quick turnaround from preparation?
Are you asking me that because I look like
No, I'm asking that because I haven't got much.
I never sleep well after the game. So, I mean, your adrenaline is so high. You've got that cortisol in your bloodstream, that fight or flight. And, you know, part of too, I drink a lot of coffee before the game. So, you know, I went to bed about 4 a.m. and that's usually when I go to bed after a game. And part of it, I always try to kind of rewatch the game in this window. I had to, you know, because it's quicker. I didn't have as much time to, take to dissect the last game. So, watched the game, stayed up, and yesterday came to training, normal, and then took a nap yesterday, and today feel great. I may not look great, but I feel great. I feel great, and I'm excited, and the team's excited, and we're looking forward to the game tomorrow. And no doubt we'll have a good performance.
Kansas City was as aggressive as they've been, specifically on Audi on Thursday. You get a lot of that same sort of thing from Kendall Waston with Vancouver. Are you concerned about Audi sort of holding up under two consecutive pretty physically aggressive opponents?
Well, no, I'm not, because he seems to be up for these matchups. You know, it's funny, he plays almost better when the guy's bigger. It seems like with Marshall, with Omar Gonzalez, two of his best games. Those are two big boys. And I think it's because he knows he needs to be up for it. So no, he'll be fine, and yet we know in this game, because of the turnaround, that subs are going to be crucial in that second half. When you play a knockout, it's a much different situation, because you might have those 120 minutes to play, so you got to be careful with your subs. We made one sub late, 85th minute I think it was, and Casey didn't make a sub, so the subs come in the overtime because of that extra period. So in this game we might look to sub a little bit sooner, depending on what we see.
Is there a calculation with the away goals? I mean, obviously you want to score and win, but...
Well, we know we can score on the road, so that's a good thing, because we've scored goals on the road, and recently we've been really good on the road. I mean, like I said, we're one of the best teams in the league on the road, 7 wins, and they are too. They've shown to be a good team on the road. Not as much recently, but early in the year, they were a really good team on the road. So we know if we have to go and score goals on the road that we can. So like I said, in this game we're going to play to win, but we'll definitely be smart. We'll be smart about it. You can't let this game get too open. And they won't as well. They'll be smart with it also. So we expect it to be a little bit tight, and then depending on we get the goal, they get the goal, then maybe it changes. But I don't think it'll change as much as it changes in a regular season game or a knockout game, because you can't go chasing the goal. If they give up a goal, they can't go chasing the goal either to get it back. So wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-0 game either way.
You've been getting a production from now a lot of different players, and it's been continuing since the few games lot and the end of the regular season and into Kansas City. How big is that?
That's huge. We haven't been beaten in four straight games, and I think it's 12 goals in the 4 games, and we're getting goals from different guys. So that's huge. Our guys are confident in our goal scoring and our production right now, and they're confident in winning. So those things are big. We just got to keep riding the wave. There's been a big wave of momentum. We got to just keep riding the wave.
I think it's especially important to get one from guys like Wallace and Rudy, who have had a little bit of a dip in goal scoring production this year.
Yeah, it's important. Really important. And we're going to need our depth in the playoffs. We'll need it. We'll need it tomorrow. We'll need it in the 2-game series, and we'll need it in the next series, hopefully. Whether guys start, come off the bench, we're going to need guys to perform, and just like Esprit and Maxi performed. But it's good. Yeah, it's good to get Rodney. I didn't even realize it, but he's had a career year in assists. But it's good for him to get another goal there. And that's Rodney. Rodney steps up in big games. That's why I always go to him.
Where is Will? I mean, we've seen him in the 18, but
Yeah.
how ready is he to play in an extended shift?
Good question. I mean, he's back. He's playing. You know, the unfortunate thing is it's hard to get match fitness without matches. And we have some other guys that have been in a rhythm playing. You know, we made the exact same sub with George the 3 games prior, and in fact he played a lot more minutes in those games coming in. But we wanted to delay as long as we could because we were in a rhythm. You know, but that's why we went with George, just because he's played and he's gone in games. And you know, can that change in terms of now Will coming in that situation as time goes on? Yeah, I think it could. Is he ready to start and play 90 minutes? No, he's not ready to play 90 minutes. But could he play a role off the bench right now? Yes. Depends on the scenario of the game. You know, Will's a guy that is less of a holding mid, more of a box-to-box guy, right? So, you know, that's a little bit why we went with George as well. He's more of a guy that sits in and destroys. And so if we were chasing the game, could it have been differently? Yeah, maybe. These are all things we talk about and prepare for. And next week it's going to be somewhat of a different situation because it's another week that Will's had to train. But we are in a rhythm right now, and so that's been probably the biggest reason why Will hasn't played, because we're in a rhythm and in the match fitness.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks for the donut.